Hey, regular 4xe fans, it's dark. I do apologize for the darkness, but the light wouldn't make this look any better, let me tell you. So I was doing a little experiment today, and I'm on a road trip going from like southwest Ohio over to eastern Pennsylvania. And I wanted to use that as an opportunity to do a little experimenting with the Wrangler 4xe and doing some fuel mileage experiments. And so the first part of the experiment, I did about 238 miles in hybrid mode. Now, I had discharged the battery, and that video, if you go and look at some of the other videos, I have that here on YouTube and I think on Facebook. But I did that experiment. I went 238 miles, and my fuel mileage was 24.1 miles per gallon. Now, that was a real number. That's not miles per gallon watt. That's a real number because I filled up after I discharged the battery that I charged up last night, and so I was at the less than 1% state and just allowed the vehicle to make the decisions it wanted to make, and I ended up with 24.1 miles per gallon. Now, this is a good experiment. I've got the hard top on. I'm by myself. I don't have a whole lot of gear in the vehicle, so I think that's a pretty solid number. 24.1 miles a gallon. Pretty decent, I would say, for a Jeep Wrangler. Now, I did another experiment for the following 171.8 miles, and during that, I ran the vehicle in ESave battery charge, and the vehicle told me that for that 171.8 miles, that 13.2 of those were electric, and I'll explain why, and 158.6 were like a hybrid, and ESave is still hybrid mode. It just changes the bias greatly. The vehicle said I got 21.9 miles to the gallon. Now, how did I get that 13.2 electric miles? I went ahead and spun the electric miles that I gained by charging off so that we could have a picture of a total net energy use. You know, I wanted to fairly include those electric miles in the miles per gallon assessment that we came away with at the end, and to see if, from an overall net energy perspective, if we're coming out ahead with that, and we're not. In ESave mode, 171 miles, I got 18.6 miles to the gallon. Now, that's verified by doing the math off of, you know, how many miles I went and how many gallons I used, not using the vehicle's computer, which I have found can be wrong, both positive and negative. So it's always best to track your miles and your fuel used to try to find the true miles per gallon. So I wanted to share this because I know a lot of people feel that you can put the Wrangler 4xe in ESave on the highway, and a lot of people feel that's a gas mode, which is not. It's the Wrangler 4xe is always a hybrid. And some people feel like once you get on the highway, it doesn't really make a difference, that the vehicle, you know, you can outthink the vehicle. And I don't think that's the case. You know, if it were close, if it were like 22 miles a gallon, I might think different of that. But there's a stark difference between 24.1 miles a gallon and 18.6. And I think that all comes back to the laws of thermodynamics. The first law says we don't create energy, we just transfer energy from one kind to another. So we're making the vehicle work harder to charge it. And yes, we are gaining some electric miles, but from a net energy perspective, we're coming out behind. And so I would really appreciate if some people could do some experiments where you are. I'm wondering if there aren't some situations and scenarios where you could use ESave and come out ahead. Yeah, you know, if there's a lot of, I don't even know if a lot of hills would do it, because even in hybrid mode, you're still going to take advantage of those hills. So I'm not sure. Those of you who like to use ESave, I would like to see what results you come away with if you just leave the vehicle in hybrid mode, let it do its thing, regardless of your distance traveled or anything like that. Like, let it do its thing in hybrid mode and just see from a net energy perspective where that all comes out. So that's my results today. 18.6 miles a gallon versus 24.1 miles a gallon, all pretty similar driving. Yeah, I find that fascinating, how much more energy ESave plus charge consumes over just allowing that vehicle to make its own sound decisions. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Take care.